I'm going to start again. So good morning. Good morning. I come to you with 6.5 decades of years behind me and revolutions around the sun. And I'm here to tell you that it's, well, first of all, it's more wonderful than I imagined. I do wonder who is that person looking at me in the mirror. I do, because inside I'm still the annoying 19-year-old that I was, which the arrogance, when I think now, think back at the arrogance of my youth. And can you relate to that? Just how you thought you knew it all? Oh, man. And so out of the lessons that I've learned, the things that matter, they're not the things I thought they would be. They're not. And one of the best lessons is the lesson of silence, is the realization of the importance of silence in my life. And I know now that I continuously yearn for more, just more and more silence. It truly is golden. Silence is golden. Learning to be comfortable in the silence is critical. Understanding that in the silence, there is a volume of wisdom that cannot be had in any, do people say encyclopedia anymore, but in any encyclopedia or in any Google search. The wisdom that is constantly seeking to avail itself to you is available because of the collective and the universal intelligence. And I got news for you. It's not in print. And the only way to get to it is to shut up and listen. Listening is critical. Listening is absolutely critical to experience the wisdom, the guidance, the intuition, the creativity. If you really want to know what's coming up that's important to the world, don't go looking outside. Tune in. Learn to tune in. Because I promise you, the things that I have learned over the years from meditation and silence, at times, especially once they're written down, or I take them and I incorporate them into a class or a lesson, or the classroom when we were in the classroom. I know those things. I've watched people look at me like, how do you know that? And I know it because the intelligence that exists everywhere exists in through me, in through you, in through each and every one of us. It's why I'm so okay if you're not good with God. God is just a concept. It's just a paradigm. You don't need that word and that concept to embrace the wisdom of the silence. You just don't need it. But the more you and I can be comfortable in our silence, the more we can feel connected in the connection to what is, and I'll talk more about that as it relates to Earth in a minute. And when we feel connected, if you spend time on a regular basis going into silence, connecting to your inner wisdom, I guarantee you there won't be space in you to worry. There won't be space in you to fear. There won't be space left in you to doubt. Because part of that collective wisdom are all those tools and skills and reminders that you have access to all this brilliant stuff. And when you're plugged into that wisdom, your intuition kicks in. Fear does not keep you from something that is threatening. I want you to know that. Sometimes we think, well, I have to be on high alert. I have to worry in order to know where I'm going. It's not so. What one has to do is you have to learn to trust the if you're a comic book person, I'd say your spider tingly feelings, those sensations that tell you to pay attention when it is important. The sensation that tells you not to drive down a certain road, or that maybe getting a relationship with a particular person is not the thing for you to do. Okay. But all of that is not something you can learn. It's what you have to listen for. What you have to listen for. And so the more we become comfortable with it, the more we trust ourselves. And as then we learn to trust ourselves, we can begin to veer out, because this is where the connected to earth comes in. When the more I shut up and listen, it's so much about Mother Nature telling me, so much about Mother Nature talking to me. I have recently renewed, and I think I showed you last week, my snake plant. I have renewed my collection of plants in my house. My house was not conducive to it until recently with the changes we've made. And the love I have of observing my plants grow is not unlike the pleasure I had of watching my children grow. There's a connection that happens from witnessing growth and then helping to promote that growth through love, through care, through watering, through feeding, through talking to them. So there is a wisdom of our silence, and then there's a wisdom of earth. Earth is here for us on our behalf. And some of us live in the cities, and some of us live where there's not a lot of earth. Maybe you just can't go out your door and touch it right away, right? But that doesn't mean you're separate from it. You can open your window and listen to the wind. Just listen to the wind. Listen to the rain when it falls. Listen. It's earth talking to us in the most beautiful and brilliant ways. And Ernest Holmes, God bless him, Ernest Holmes knew how to listen. He knew how to listen and to ask the right questions. And so the more that we embrace this wisdom of the inner and then of Mother Earth, the more we embrace it, the more we walk in right relationship with Earth. What is right relationship? I know I've explained this before, but I think it's very important. Living in right relationship is to when we stop and we question our impact on what we're doing. We question our impact on what we use. Yeah, the whole recycle, reuse, reduce. That we're talking about that. I mean, back in the day when we had one of our locations, Evelyn had this huge, we used to call it the coffin container, where people were invited to put things for free. I mean, I long for a place again where we could just lean on each other and share with each other items like that. A little different in the virtual world, but still the concept is good. And so when we're doing that, that's a little piece of living in right relationship. Borrowing something instead of buying something, it's living in right relationship. And so, well, that's enough. That's enough I want to say about that. And every year we offer you this phoenix, right? We every year it's the shedding, and then it's the rising. The shedding is about shedding ideas, shedding limitations, shedding fear, shedding doubt, shedding worry, shedding the superstitions that come with some of your upbringing, and to consistently move back to that place that says, and I and every minister here has reminded each of us of this every time, there is no thing outside of you that is greater than that which lives within. This, if we did this community rightly all the time, we wouldn't be here to take, we'd be here to celebrate, because we'd be aware it's all here already. There is nothing outside of any one of us that is greater than the wisdom that we carry. The difference is, are you remembering to implement it? Are you remembering to wake up and be grateful? Are you remembering to count your blessings at the end of the day? Are you remembering to care for your home and your surroundings so that it reflects back to you the beauty of who you are. This is part of the shedding, is to be in that letting go and to be in action. But I want to get back to the lessons I've learned for 6.5 decades. One is kindness. Kindness truly is a gift. It's a gift of the giver, and it's a gift for the receiver. There's, as we mature, my guess is you can join me in recognizing that the sweetness of being right is very short-lived. When you're righteous about something, that sweetness is very limited. But the sweetness of kindness, when you decide that the greater good is more important than your opinion, or the greater good is more important than your judgment, now you're going to drink of the elixir of wisdom of the universe that is constantly trying to download itself. But it comes most fervently when we are proactive, remembering. When we're proactive, we actually are preventive. We're preventing the stuff that we have to heal. We prevent the stuff we have to get over. In my forgiveness course, one of the biggest things about the forgiveness course, if you've taken it, you know this. If you haven't, this is the secret behind it, is I push the students and the readers to have a practice of non-judgment, because when I'm in that practice of non-judgment, I'm not causing things to have to forgive, right? So in that, I stop to remember who I am in the relationship at every point. So I stop, the discipline of my mind is critical. And after 6.5 decades, I realized my opinion is nothing. It's nothing. It's just another opinion. It doesn't matter. I hate to say this, but what I'm saying right now doesn't matter. What matters is, are you listening to you? Are you embracing that internal guidance? And when you go to that inner landscape, if it's filled with weeds of self-doubt and self-criticism, well, then you got some work to do. You have work to do, because the beauty of the listening and then trusting is embracing the fruit of that labor. And the fruit of that labor is absolutely stunning. And one of the other things I learned is stop caring about what other people think. Oh God, I wish I knew that early. Oh, I wish I knew that. And I want my children to know it, my grandchildren to know it. I want the children of this community to know it. Stop caring about what other people think. But I know that is not just for the children. I know some of you still care. I know that. And you think other people's opinions matter. They do not. And the sooner we, again, pull in, and not to pull away from community, because God knows community is important, because there's a healing that happens. There's a healing that gets multiplied when we gather. That's even more than our separate efforts, right? But just to be you. Oh my God, just to be you. And the last thing is to never be seduced by the world when it wants to convince you that there's an outside solution. Do not be seduced. Do not let yourself be seduced into fear. Do not let yourself be seduced into that there's an outside authority that is greater than you and me. So I'm going to put it out a challenge. Actually, let me put this, I'm going to put this in the chat to everybody. This is my challenge for 1 week. Let me get this. Hold on, I'll get there. Here's my challenge to you for 1 week. No news, no news sources, no CNN, no new little single lines on your phone, no turning to Facebook because what the hell does Facebook know anyway? No outside sources for 1 week. Stop the outer telling you how life is. And when you feel that temptation to go to look for an outside authority, stop and question yourself. And this is what you could say every time. Actually, I'll put this in the chat also. Give me 1 sec. Let me just put this in here. Hold on. Can't spell evidently all of a sudden. All right, here we go. Intelligence as me knows what needs to be known always. So can you imagine yourself, instead of giving power outside, every time you stop, you get with that temptation, because all of that is given a little bit of power, a little bit of power, a little bit of power. Now, you can't do no news without doing no gossip, by the way. They're intermingled. So you don't get to let someone else tell you also about the news. If they start to tell them, just do me a favor, not this week. 1 week, clear your mind. I know that things are going on in the world. They've been going on for a long time. Are they bigger now? Yeah, there's some very big, obvious, newsworthy things. This is 1 week. Okay, the world will survive without us energetically adding to it for 1 week. And you will survive beautifully, perfectly, without taking in that news for 1 week. So Evelyn warned you. And so I'm going to go on gallery view here for myself. And now I can see your beautiful faces. For some of you still love to be off screen. No worries. So I want to ask you, if anything I said makes sense, is any of this internal wisdom? Oh, we have Regina coming in from California. Hey, Doc. If you believe what I said and that there is an internal wisdom greater than anything you can get outside of you, often we still have little distractions. And those distractions are the things that if we were in person right now and we were doing a ritual, you would surrender over in some kind of, either in a fire ceremony or something like that. So I want to ask you right now, you can we're going to raise hands for a few people, or you could put it in the chat. What in life still distracts you from knowing your divine perfection? What in life can trip you up from remembering your divine perfection? And again, if few people want to raise their hands, I'd love for you to share here. If not, put it in the chat. Okay, we have some chat going on. Yep, reactivity. There I am. Lack, limited thinking, me, reactivity to what is around me. Okay, and I can't see if there's any hand raised because I had the chat. It's covering my screen. My health, tiredness and insecurity. Okay, got it. More. Oh. Well, I'm just moved. I got very moved by something I just read. Obsessive thinking and reacting to what I think others think of me. Boy, Patricia, that's got to go. I'm going to say it. That shit's got to go. It's got to go. Giving our power away has got to go. No one here deserves to give their power away. Nobody, no one of us deserves to give our power away. Loved ones doubting me, fear, old storyline. Wow, this is really touching. I'm really appreciating the honesty for those who have shared. And this is the beauty of community. And please, dear God, please, for those of you who can, please join us next Saturday. And if you are able to bring food, I don't know, remember who you're supposed to connect with. I'm sure we'll tell you at the end. But see, this community, this level of honesty. Oh God, yes, submission to mediocrity, loved ones doubting me. Yes. Oh, I'm getting chills. Our ability to be honest with each other, even in this very public venue, speaks to the beauty of our community. It speaks to your feeling safe. And if you want to really embrace the presence and whatever you name it, one of the paths you have to walk upon to get there is finding that place of safety, that inroad, that beautiful inroad. I wish right now that I could, yep, I see more. My ego thinking I don't have enough. Oh man, these are painful and brilliant and honest, and the loved one's illness, yes. So, go ahead and put your hands up if you don't mind, almost as if we were able to connect to each other. All right, just, as if we could touch hands just for the moment. Just feel into that. Feel into the intention that has kept us a community, to that vibration, to that beauty, to that love. Feel into that right now. Let's not give it a name. Let's just tune into the feeling and know that that presence lives as each of us individually and collectively, and the beauty and the wisdom and the intelligence of all that is right now is sourcing itself. So I'm gonna just take a risk here, and I'm gonna treat that each and every one of us here right now remembers their full divine birthright, and that we live by right of consciousness, and that we remember intelligence as me knows what needs to be known always. Intelligence as me, as you, not just through you, not that you have to reach for it. Intelligence that lives at a cellular level of who you are, that this intelligence seduces you to that inner landscape of you, to that inner landscape of your beauty, to that inner landscape of your love. That intelligence is calling you in the whispers of the silence. That intelligence is calling you when we watch a river flow. That intelligence is calling to us, and sometimes it looks like doubt and fear and ill health, and it looks like lack, but it is intelligence saying, dear God, look within. Look within. Let no thing, no person, no idea, no news source for sure determine your authority, determine your reality. Never again. Get that. Never again. There is no outside greater than the inner wisdom and the inner landscape. Our pain is caused because we are distracted and we think that there is a reality outside of our perfection. So let us bless ourselves and bless each other right now. Send a blessing and an energetic blessing through your hands. It's just a symbol. It's to focus your attention and to focus your intention of love for this community. Feel it, please. Take a deep breath. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take your hands and just kind of slowly gather that energy and pull it inside of yourself. Kind of slowly. And let us affirm again. Intelligence as me knows what needs to be known always. Always. For this, I am eternally, infinitely, infinitely grateful. And I surrender this word to the love, to law, to intelligence, that it may be so. And so it is. And if your children were with me or your grandchildren were with me and we were doing the blessing we always do, I would remind them that they are not at the mercy of anything and that they and you are not your mother. You are not your father. You are not your ministers, your teachers, your coaches, your counselors. You, the presence of the intelligence of life as you, is your authority. So this week, as we give up the outside influence of news and all those things that I've asked you to do, should you actually, let me ask you, by a show of hands, if you're not on screen, maybe you'll do it. Are you willing to accept that challenge for just 1 week? 1 week.
You want to try? You're gonna try.
Well, trying is good. Trying is good. Okay, thank you. I'd be really interested to see what happens. I really would love to converse with you and find out what happens when you let go of that temptation to think there's an outside authority, because there isn't. There isn't. And I want to say to you, some of you wrote some beautiful and poignant things. And that's why we have practitioners. Call a practitioner to listen to you, because they listen through the ears of possibility. All right. Big, big, big love to you. Thank you. Blessings. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday.